Hello everyone, it's January 22nd, 2019. It's Tuesday. It's Harp Tuesday. Bit of a surprise Harp Tuesday episode today. I wasn't planning to do one this week, but I wanted to work a little bit on the second part of Scheherazade, to practice for myself. And I thought maybe I'd take you along for the ride because I did an episode several years ago about practicing. You should be seeing a link coming up here. But it's a topic that I think we certainly could use more of, right? And I did that last year to 7-year celebration of Harp Tuesday. I did a live stream of me practicing a piece. And I just think it's an interesting thing to watch sometimes. So anyway, I invite you to come along as I look at this. So I'm looking at the second half of Barbara Brundage's arrangement of themes from Scheherazade. So... here's a spot I know that's a little bit challenging because of this lever change. So as well as this fairly fast lever change, this D, I want to muffle this on the way to changing it. So the left hand's going to go, depending on your harp and how fast you're playing it and all that you may or may not feel a need to muffle it, but I would like to muffle it. So I'm just going to try and work this little section. I can, of course, work the right hand just to make sure that I kind of know what's going on there, that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and try that again. Now it's starting to feel good, and you know I've played through this piece a number of times, right? It's fun to play, but I haven't necessarily done a lot of dedicated practice, and that's the type of thing to do, right? Because otherwise, each time I get to that, and it's a little messy, and I don't know if I'm going to make it in time, and it's awkward, it slows down, but then I'm through it, and I'm still enjoying playing the piece. But you have to just work, and maybe even smaller sections than that, depending on what it is you're working on. And I've done enough work on it to be able to kind of do just that much, and already it's starting to feel more comfortable. I'll start from the beginning. Let's see. I might jot down a fingering reminder to myself there that I'm going to come off on that first E to a comma. I'm using my iPad right at the moment, and then 3. On the second E, 3, 2, and then as we go down to the next line, because otherwise. Much easier this way, and just a reminder to myself, because I found that I didn't quite figure that the way I wanted to there. Try that again. have some time after that dotted eighth, there's a little bit of a risk of the thumb buzzing on the F, so and those glisses are something that I'm really going to listen back to this and hear how they're sounding, whether I like what's going on there or not. Maybe I need to change something. A spot that I feel I'm not sure that I can trust my ear as I'm playing, or that I just want a second opinion, as it were, of the recording. Let's go back to that. And somehow here in this and also earlier, my hand somehow doesn't naturally want to, isn't quite grooved in terms of where it's going next. It somehow maybe wants to go to the, or something go to the A instead of the G. So I just have to notice that in my playing, right? As you're practicing, noticing where are those spots where it doesn't feel quite as comfortable as you would like, or the hand's not as sure as you want it to be. I think definitely connect there. Here's a little spot I know that I've been playing around with, and instead of placing, I think I'm just finding that easier, even though it's the same fingers. I'd rather have that complete control over this little grace note and then find this rather than connecting. Making sure that repeated D is sounding the way I want it to. Okay, so here comes a spot that I can't sight read quite as easily. Okay, so I'm just going to write in a reminder to myself. And again, it partly depends on your sort of workflow, as it were, and how easily you remember things. For me, oftentimes, because I do remember things pretty well, I'll only write in reminders on very few spots. So for this little spot, it would take me, if I was doing some dedicated practice on this, every day, it wouldn't take me very long to remember this fingering. But it doesn't hurt to just have it in there. And again, there are spots where I definitely want to write it in just as a reminder, so I don't, each time I get there, I'm not thinking, now let's see, how am I going to finger this? Or any time you find that you've done a different fingering that you would prefer to do, a different fingering that you want, every time, excuse me, words, every time that if you get to a spot and you find that you do a fingering that you don't want to do there once, well, that's okay, right? Maybe you'll remember it next time. But if you do it twice, that's probably a good sign that put a reminder fingering in there, right? So that you're training yourself to the way you want it to feel and to work. So I'm just getting a sense of how that feels. Oh, sorry, well, with an A flat, of course. Yeah. So now let's incorporate that change in. Okay, so what is this? This is to the D. And remember, with lever changes, oftentimes you have to memorize a spot. Like, I'm not necessarily looking to memorize this entire piece. I like to get it in good enough shape that I can record a music video of it, talk about this second part, but excuse me, but I'm not necessarily looking to memorize it. But with these lever change parts, I might have to, because I can I'm very good at watching the music and not needing to look at my hands, but I have to look at the levers. Let's see. Was it high D? Losing here. There we go. So that's just feeling a little awkward for me yet. It's still, I'm not getting it to flow necessarily. It's okay. The parts are okay. It's easier than this muffle and change, but it's not quite in the hands as much as I would like. And then. And here's another spot where the diamond shape, the indication of which lever we're changing, can be initially maybe a little bit visually confusing. And again, I'm just going to write a reminder of 1, 2, and then 3, 4 on the chord, just so that I have that there, and I'm not distracted by this lever change here. So. So we have, when this finishes, okay, great, right here is one where I just have to make sure I know exactly when I'm changing this lever and also when I'm replacing to muffle. So I've played this chord. I want to place before I change to muffle it. I want to replace quite early so that I can get a left hand change and get the left hand down there in time. And let's just see. So I play this. Okay. Great. Let's add this one in. So that's okay, but it's not great yet. Oh yeah, let's play from. Normally, of course, I would want to delay this replacement, but so I just have to remember to replace. Oh, it's getting a little better. I'm going to go on here for a moment. Replace. I'm going to choose to come off, I think, here. I could connect. I'm just going to come off, that's fine. So, with a sharp. Yeah, okay. Great. Okay, it's two C's down here, right? 158 in the octave. Wrong one. Great. written in here as a reminder not to place the thumb here. It's 2, 3 because of what's coming up. So again, I'll place it a little bit early so that I can muffle. Sorry. Yeah, so I'll place place that A a little early so I can change this and get back in time. And then we go back. So let's try that from the beginning. This is down. We're ready to go. This should be up and this should be up. Oh, right, we have to add those up when we're on the repeat. Let me just check that then. So they're down. We get 1, 2, 3, 1. So we actually have a fair amount of time there, right? Okay, some good parts and some bad parts there. I mean, whatever, it's all good. But, and again, remembering that no matter how much you might do in a particular day practice session, sometimes you just have to sleep on it, or not everything can be fixed in one session. Not everything can be fixed in 1 week, right? Or can be learned. So, like some of these spots I marked, that was great. Some of the stuff we talked about. I didn't do one connected bit that I talked about. The end of bottom of the page, that first part. I think I will just marker on my whatever, it was fine. I didn't buzz and it was okay, but I might just mark a reminder there to myself. And then I wasn't happy with careful on the placement of that G, right? Because it's so resonant that I just have to really watch how I replace that to get it as clean a sound as I would like, or something approaching that at least. Okay, and then there was that section in the middle of this, right? Bars 68. So one of the things I knew that this little bit, this lever change didn't actually affect the notes we were playing. But in the first little bit, it doesn't as well until the end. Okay, this is the A. String is the E. No, the E's later on when it doesn't affect it. And, anyway, so let's just take a look at that again. So this right here. Right. How can I think about that? Again, so like that was okay, but I also knew it's a bit of kind of sight reading, getting there in time, but just a little bit by the seat of the pants, right? So it's one thing when you're trying to sight read a piece and trying to make it sound good in that moment. Right? Keep the tempo going, find the notes, whatever you can, whatever finger you can get in, just do it. But because I want to learn this reasonably well, I want to actually learn it and have it in my fingers, and so not have it feel like a scramble. Okay, so let's go back to this little spot here. We have this and this. So these are going down. Then we're messing around with this B, right? That's the major thing that's happening here. Yeah, it's right there. Okay. Oh, it's this. Okay. Let's try that again. So the left hand's just not as confident as I would like there. Better. Right. Let's try that slow motion so I make sure that I'm replacing what I want to muffle. Great. Because I want to change this back as soon as I can so I can get down here, but I can't if I go. Great. Right. Right, 2 C's. Don't be late with that third finger. So it's mainly this little spot, right, that we discovered that's really it's holding me down a little bit. And again, I'm just having a hard time memorizing this one spot too. I think hand's not automatically going where it should. This is the fourth right here. Let's try that again. Okay, so some interesting things there, right? Overall, it's getting better. It's getting better. I still feel that this little spot, I'm not finding that I can really catch a look at the music. And it's starting to get memorized. I'm having a hard time, like, what is some sort of C chord? Is it a single C? No, it's this. Yeah, finding that. And then this. Okay, so there, we need this. Right, this. Not this. And then there was that little spot you heard me work a number of times with a little grace note. So, last time I played it through, right, I had the same bit of a problem there. Again, from a sight reading point of view, it was okay, but from really knowing the piece, it wasn't so great. So, and again, just the hand wasn't falling comfortably onto that as much as I wanted it to. So let's just go over that. More grace notes. Anyway, it's just not. Right? Good. Nice. I just sound like, well, yeah, it's nice, excellent, keep going. Okay. Teachers. Okay. Okay. Let's try that again. Yeah, I just need to memorize that. So let's just analyze that then. Okay. Again, I get pretty lazy sometimes, right? Because it's the type of thing where if I did several days of deliberate practice through this, it would get in pretty good shape. But again, to be super efficient, I should analyze. If I want to memorize this, I should analyze. And then it's kind of like we're hunting around a C chord, right? Are we getting there? Are we getting there? Oh yes, we finished with a C. Let's try that again. Okay. Just finished on this D chord, and I'm going to an E. So left hand chain, and then we get a bit of a break, and then when we start this next little D, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then have to immediately work on that. Okay. I think I missed that anyway, so let's try that again. getting better. Right, I played out a G octave there instead of this fourth. With the D sharp. So again, my left hand is thinking that it has to work a little harder than it really does. Right here, nothing to do for the left hand. So yeah, so we can just smoothly go to there. That's great. Again, fight that temptation to want to find a G octave there. So anyway, that gives you kind of an idea, right, of how I would approach this if I'm trying to be the most effective and efficient at it. So again, especially for something like this, which is not that challenging for me, apart from a few lever changes, I could certainly just play this through every day for a few weeks and get it in reasonable shape. And in my normal course of practicing, I might not do quite this intensive, deliberate practice like I'm doing right now, but I would do a lot of it, right? Because that's a very effective way of learning stuff. And again, really trying to tune into how it feels from my point of view, right? That not just are we getting the notes, but is it feeling comfortable? Am I noticing that my hand's wanting to jump up here and doesn't need to? Try and get to the point where it doesn't, where I don't have to fight an initial response to go somewhere other than where I want it to, where it just moves smoothly and accurately to where I want it to go next, so that things feel and sound as good as they can. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this little look at a practice session. Look for the official Harp Tuesday video of the second part of this next week. I guess let's try to do that next week. And thanks for watching. I should mention that I'm trying to reach 50 patrons. I'm at 41 right at the moment. So you should check out my Patreon site somewhere up here. Just posted a new exclusive video for my patrons. I think there's about 20 of them now. Videos and different posts that are just for patrons. And if you're able to, I'd love it if you support me there. So again, thanks for watching, and I will see you next week. Cheers.